At some point, as you were trying to get back to Sweden, you told me, you applied for this Swedish reality show for Americans,
Yeah, so
or for at least non-Swedish born people.
yes, the show in Swedish is called Allt för Sverige, but they translate it to The Great Swedish Adventure. It's a show that I've heard about for years, where they actually have Americans with Swedish heritage. They go onto this show and fly to Sweden, and then they experience Swedish culture for the first time. And then, like, the grand prize, here's the biggest difference between Swedish and American reality shows. The prize is that you get to meet distant relatives.
I would do
That's
that.
what their budget can
That'd be fun.
afford.
Do they like then make you live with them, or they?
No, they like have a party, and then they're
Okay.
like, we are complete strangers, but apparently we're related somehow. I don't know, but I applied for it.
Okay.
I was like, you know what? Because I didn't apply for it because it always would say on the application, like, people who have never been to Sweden before. And I was like, well, dang, I would totally go on a show like this. Well, then it was just over a year ago. I see the advertisement again because I follow like Swedish postings in Minneapolis and stuff like that. And for the first time, that like qualification was no longer there.
Okay.
I was like, okay, that's not a limitation. So I was like, this is my chance. I'm gonna apply for the show. So yeah, I applied for it, and I filled out in my application. I think they even asked, like, oh, have you been to Sweden? Whatever. Explained that I have and that I had lived here and I studied Swedish. Well, I got a call back. They were like, hey, we like your application. We want to know more about you. Can you make a video? And so, yeah, so the process is going and I'm getting feedback from them, and they absolutely, like, they love me. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. And so it's all going well. And then they reach out to me and they're like, we just realized you have been to Sweden and we want people who've never been here before. It's like, that's not what the application said. And they were like, yeah, well, we took that off because we thought maybe if someone had like a layover in Sweden or they visited as a child, like, we didn't want them to feel like they can't apply. So they took that out completely. They're like, but you've lived here. It's like, what if I can pretend that it feels like the first time when I visit? And so they're like, no, we're sorry, you're overqualified for the show. And so anyway, I was really bummed about that. And they said that they would actually pass my name on to another show, which is the Swedish Bachelor. So that was just like a crazy idea, but I was like, sure, pass my name along,
Now, did they suggest this, or did you suggest this, or how did this even come to be?
It was kind of both. Like, I totally joked with them, being like, well, is there another show? Do you have like the Swedish Bachelor? Like, I didn't even know if the Swedish Bachelor was a show. And the gal that was talking to me on the phone, she's like, they're actually casting for that right now. And I know the girl who's casting for it. I'll pass your name along. I'm like, what? So I'm like, sounds too good to be true, but she suggested it. But then 2 months later, I got the phone call from the casting director of the Swedish Bachelor. So that was kind of the first time they reached out to me, and the same process started where I filled out some like questionnaires and made a video and a Skype interview, and they offered me a spot on the show. So yeah, I'm the first American they've ever had on Swedish Bachelor. So that was exciting.
And I'd imagine if not for you, they wouldn't have had an American. Somehow this came together where the new idea arose, like, oh, why not just do this for the fun of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
See what happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely get the question a lot, like, how did you end up on the show? And it's like, the craziest part is I never applied for it. It just it actually was just, going one route, but wasn't quite a good fit. So they sent me to the Bachelor. And that was also a good fit because I was already moving here. So I kind of told them, like, the idea of meeting a Swedish guy is completely realistic because, like, I'm moving there and, like, I have no plans afterwards. I might stay in Sweden, I might come back, but, like, I'm open to anything. So, yeah.
From the time it's told to you that you're on the show, what's like the next amount of time? Like how long before you go to shoot it? Where do you go? And what's your life like?
Dude, if
And you probably can't tell anybody, right?
Oh, so I couldn't, yeah. It's nice that now I can talk about it,
Yeah.
no problem. But at the time, I was already like completely sworn to secrecy. So trying to tell people why I'm about to disappear, like, and I don't know for how long is very confusing.